Back in the saddle. Looking for a little fiction. What's going on, guys? I was going to do a little tone look, but I changed my mind. Oh, because you know what? There's so much to talk about in the giant land and the giant sphere. There's so much going on. We got the Joe Schoen in his comments. We got Charlie chiming in with a great question about Daniel Jones. We have to figure out if what he's talking about, Shane, that is, if it's truth or if it's fiction, if he actually believes his own nonsense. You know, most of it's going to be GM speak. 100%. It's GM speak. You know, it's like, you know, I always go back to Crash Davis when he's trying to teach Nuke Lelouch. You have to learn your cliches. You know, and God willing, things will work out in the end. You got to just play one game at a time. And that's kind of what it's like. We got the Rover giving the big thumbs up. What's up, Rover? Thumbs up right back at you, brother, man. But it's one of those things now that we're going into year 6 of this fiasco. We have an idea that the Bears are going to be moving on from Justin Fields. It could be Atlanta, it could be Pittsburgh, it could be New England, it could be a lot of different places. But the thought process is right now they are going after they had, you know, what they got over to the combine, that they're going with Caleb, that they're going to be moving on from Justin Fields. So if that's the case, you got one more quarterback off the list. So, and you have still 2 more quarterback hungry teams sitting in front of you. It's not a great place to be, especially when you got a $40 million a year quarterback who's taking 68% of 68 was dead cap number 16.4 million, I believe it is, on your contract this year, coming off 2 neck injuries and an ACL in 3 years. That's not a good look. And for Joe to sit there and say, well, you know, we believe in Daniel Jones. We've done everything we can to potentially screw this kid up. Can you say the same thing about Saquon Barkley? No. We don't want to pay Saquon. We don't want to pay the guy who is 40% of the offense at the running back position because you have a terrible quarterback and you double down. Hello, Alejandro. You double down on this lunacy. I wish I could remember who it was. It doesn't matter. Timothy, doesn't matter. Just you call me anything, just don't call me late for dinner. I don't remember who it was in the comment section today. And they were like, you were right. I was like, oh, okay. They're like, this is, and I don't remember the analogy I said in the video, but they were like, you're right. This is like a gambler. And we're doubling down on the same lunacy. It's going good, my brothers. It's all going good. We're doubling down on the same lunacy. And Shane is going to sit there and Shane is going to tell you all is well. Don't worry about it. Don't look at that man behind the curtain because we're not going to expose Oz. And like I said, 100%, I understand you are not going to sit there and divulge everything that you're going to be doing. I get that. I understand the coach speak. I get it. But it just boggles the mind and hurts the brain when he says shit like this.
Quarterback spot. When you watch the playoffs this year, Joe, you saw the last together, guys. The high level of play, right? Like these guys are superheroes. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, even, you know, just go around the league. I love this clip. How important is it to continue to, in the league now, to have that elite level of quarterback play to compete for a Super Bowl? Is it even possible to do it without having that elite play now?
Yeah, there's only so many of those guys walking this earth.
Well, of course, it's very hard, yeah.
But, I mean,
there's only so many guys walking the earth, but we don't want to go find one. Why the hell we want to do that?
Guy on our roster that played at that level at Minnesota last year.
Absolutely. So it's the guy on our roster that in 5 years played one game at that level. And we need to build around him. Shane's starting to piss me off.
In a road playoff game, you know, that's still young. So
for sure,
again, it's in there. And again, I think it's everybody's, you know, hyper focused on the quarterback position, which I understand. But
yeah, you're hyper focused on the quarterback position because it's only the most important position of all sports.
You also have to build
hockey, basketball, baseball. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't win. In baseball, if you don't have a great catcher, you could still win.
Team. Like, look at Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, and You can't tell me there's a team. I mean, put his talent that's around him. Hall of Fame left tackle.
And I love this because don't we have a soon-to-be Hall of Fame left tackle on Andrew Thomas?
Receivers they have, the running back.
Didn't we go out and get Darren Wall and other receivers, and didn't we have Saquon Barkley?
Like a coach, there's been continuity that's been.
Aren't we going on the coach that's been there for 3 years?
Or year over year.
Those teams all did it in different ways, right?
They all did it in different ways. And they tried to go up and get a quarterback.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
And now he's with Dallas. But
yeah, and then after that flamed out, they had Brock Purdy. So they got 3 quarterbacks in 5 years.
Again.
And made the playoffs and made divisional championships and went to the Super Bowl.
There's different ways to build the team. You look across the league, you're always looking at, different plans and how teams did it and, what's the best way to do it. And we're going to do it our way. And
I'm going to tell you something right now, Joe. Your fucking way's not working. Your way's not working, Joe. He's like a child at times. He really is. And I've said this before. I worked in media. And you would hope that he would be a little bit more media savvy. From the first day that we saw him, first press conference, go watch my video. I said he needs to work on becoming more media savvy. Because you got to know what to say, what not to say, and when to say it. I don't think he's giving away trade secrets by saying these things. But if he does protest too much and repeatedly, or he does heap praise too much and does that repeatedly, those types of things come back to haunt you. They do. They come back to haunt you. I've said this before. Kayvon Thibodeau. I'm getting 17 sacks my rookie season. And I said this before. When you are boisterous, when you are sitting there and self-promoting, that's great. But then you have to go onto the field and you literally have to then produce, because then it's just noise. So Shane's sitting here going into year 3 with a ponderance of a clue of what he's doing, because we don't know. He could be doing something brilliant right now. He could be doing something fantastic. And I see a lot of people in the chat. I see a lot of comments. I'm going to get to everyone in a few minutes. I just got to get this off my chest. You could see all this out there right now. And like I said, if you continuously say, Daniel Jones is our guy, Daniel Jones is our guy, Daniel Jones is our guy, more than likely you started to believe that you have faith in Daniel Jones. So if you do turn around and decide to draft a quarterback, the fan base will look at this and say twofold. Why, if you had so much faith if you had no faith in Daniel Jones, why did you give him $160 million? Yes, 90 something guaranteed. And then go draft a quarterback? Because for the last 5-6 months, you have sat there and you have pontificated how wonderful Daniel Jones is, and then you go out and draft a quarterback? There's a difference between GM speak, coach speak, and all that, and kind of being truthful and honest and not understanding sometimes when you get in front of that camera, you have to keep it very bland. Bland sucks. Bland does not sell papers. Bland does not get the clicks, the likes, the bleeps, and the boops. Bland, you know what bland gets you? Bland gets you a opportunity to go out and potentially do what you need to do what you want to do, but not tip your hands to others. But if you continuously talk about Daniel Jones, let's hear one last clip.
Yeah, so he actually started throwing. Yeah, Jordan, he actually started throwing. He's been throwing for about 2 weeks stationary now. He's not dropping back or doing any of that stuff. So he is on track. He's doing everything.
Okay, I love my thumbnail with Daniel Jones in the chair throwing the ball. I mean that was a work of art. And I like to thank the people that sit there and think that I spend all these times on these thumbnails. Anyone that knows me and anyone see me actually work, I spend about 10 minutes on thumbnails. Sometimes you could tell. But that one I spent 25 minutes on.
He can to get back. We're optimistic about where he is, and there's some talk in the spring that he may be able to go through, whether it's 7-on-7 or individual throwing routes on air, that he'll be able to do some of that stuff. We probably won't expose him to team activities, but every patient responds differently to surgery. So, knock on wood, we haven't had any setbacks. He hasn't had any setbacks, and if he continues on that pace, he should be ready for the start of training camp.
Should be ready for the start of training camp. Okay. We already know he's going to be the quarterback. We know that because you have a $68 million dead cap number. You got a $40 million contract. You know he's going to be the quarterback. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But in some regards, it's basically looking at this saying, yeah. And again, like I said, if you keep spewing this, if you keep pontificating this, if you keep talking about this, if you keep, you're going to get the questions. You're going to get the questions. And like I said, I mean, this is how I would, this is someone like me. This is how I would handle when they go, Tim, how is Daniel Jones doing? And are you looking towards bringing him in for the future? And is he going to be your starting quarterback from 2024 and on? We really have to take a look at the situation closely. We have to monitor his health. We have to have an understanding of the marketplace and the market value. We also have to take a look at what's available to us down the road, because like I said, injuries always occur. Injuries happen. You always have to be prepared. In that case, we've watched it over the last 3 years with Daniel Jones. We just have to make sure that we're insulating ourselves as a team. So we make sure that if something does happen to our quarterback, we can move on and we can move forward and still continue to win games. Next question. That's it. Let's see. What do we got here? Zach Attack says, what to know why college students are dumb. GTA is a perfect example of that. We're going to get into that a little bit later. We got Irish Rover. We got everyone dropping in. We got everyone dropping in. We got everyone dropping by. And Zach Attack says, we have a crime scene. And I've already acknowledged Alejandro. What's up, Alejandro? Let's see here. I wish someone had asked Joe why every other quarterback on the roster performed better than Jones with the same situation. Because you're not going to ask that question. Because he's going to give you the answer. He is going to give you the Minnesota answer. Well, look, when everything was correct, look how he performed at that top level in Minnesota. And like I said, my next question would have been, at that point in time, if you're talking about that, it's been 5 years. How many games has it been? How many games can you tell me, Joe? I actually tried to get in. I tried to call in. They didn't want me. I think it might have something to do with what happened at the town hall. But my question was going to be, my question to Joe Schoen was going to be very simple. You always bring up the Minnesota game. You always bring up the fact that he played at a high level in the Minnesota game. Could you tell me what other games during this 5-year run of Daniel Jones has he exceeded or played at that same level? That's it. That's it. That's all I'm saying. At what point, Tim, are we tripling down on a bad hand? We're tripling down on a bad hand now. We are literally tripling down on a bad hand as we speak. No, we're trying to do it. We're playing blackjack and we're trying to split fours. I got 2 fours. I'm going to split. That's what you're doing. And like I said, what pisses me off is we haven't had a media savvy GM probably since George Young. Really haven't. A GM shouldn't be as heard as some of these GMs are now. They should be behind the scenes. And I understand it was a media day. I understand it's a press day. I understand. I get that. I get that completely. But Joe Schoen is also the guy that came out a couple months back on a little press junket and said, I got away from my plan. I got away from it. And then what bugged me even more, and I'm going to get to everyone, I promise. What bugged me even more is you bashed Brock Purdy to make your quarterback look good or look better. And Brock Purdy has put up better stats than Daniel Jones. But you want to talk about how he's missed, and you bring up the fact that, well, he's Mr. Irrelevant. Well, Mr. Irrelevant was in a Super Bowl. Mr. Irrelevant threw for 4,200 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions in his first full season. And like I said, you want to bring somebody else down, and this is what some of the fans do. You want to bring someone else down so you can lift your guy up. That's not what we do in sports. Well, that is what we do now. That's not what we did back in the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s. That's what you did. But it was a different game back then. And I understand that. I'm old, and I get it. I get it. But at the end of the day, you sit there and you talk and you preach and you give information and you give talking points, and all of it's the same. And like I said, so now, and this is why I know we're not going to quarterback, especially in the first round. Now at this point in time, if Jaden Daniels, let's say, was sitting there, if Drake May was sitting there, we're probably not going that direction. I would hope if they were sitting there at 6 and we weren't going that direction, we'd trade out. But you can't keep spewing the same information about Daniel Jones and then turn around and draft his replacement. I mean, you could, but it's not a great look. Arizona got bashed. You take what? Rosen 10th overall, 11th overall. Then you could next year go out and get Kyler Murray. You admitted to your mistake. You admitted to your fault, and you got out of it. We quadruple down on everything. And this isn't just Shane. This is going back. And you know what the weirdest thing is? You're not hearing a peep out of Brian Dable. You're not hearing anything. And I think that's the smartest thing to do right now, because he's got his own set of problems. I love the scene in Miracle when Herb is in the locker room and the guy's got the bruise on his leg and he's trying to goad him into playing. He's like, get the team fired up, and Aruzione goes, "Nobody quit, coach." And he looks at him and goes, he's like, "You just need to be quiet, because you have to work about, you got to work on your own game, because there's a lot to work there." And that's kind of what Dable, I think, is doing. Dable's just staying in the background. I just wish that when all this flushes out, I really do, you have to hope Daniel Jones is your guy. You have to hope you find a replacement for Saquon Barkley. You have to hope you could get a wide receiver. You have to hope that if you keep Waller, he stays healthy. You have to hope you don't go after another left tackle and convert him to a right tackle after you potentially could be taking your right tackle from 2 years ago and who was a left tackle and converting him to right guard. And that's what kills me. Think about that. You took Evan Neal 2 years ago, left tackle. You moved him to right tackle. Now you're talking about taking that left tackle who you moved to right tackle and moved him to right guard. And then you're talking, there's some potential people that are talking about Joe Alt and how you take Joe Alt and who was a left tackle and move him to right tackle. So then you'll have two guys playing that position next to an undersized center in JMS. I see the big old super chat. We got to get to that real quick from Mr. Ohio. Danny checks down. Sucks. I think I owe you $5. I owe you $5 for that, my friend. Yes, he does. There's nothing. Oh, my God. Let's get to some of these chats real quick, because I got more to talk about. Mr. Al, we got, where are we going in here? Wait, I got to make sure I get to everyone. And if I miss your comments, please let me know. Well, people usually do. Todd Taylor says, elite will just need consistently good quarterback. You got a guy that changes from drive to drive. He changes from play to play. Daniel Jones doesn't. What's up, Fabian? Haven't seen you in a while. Daniel Jones doesn't change. He changes from play to play. Literally, I've never seen this before. He changes from play to play. Honestly, we should tag McKinney, add him to the Bears trade for the first round pick. Oh, that's not going to happen. You're gonna tag McKinney, and the trade would be contingent on McKinney signing the tag and probably signing a deal with the Bears. So yeah, none of that with the and MK5 VW. I'm not making fun of you, but I'm just saying people are like, we got to trade Saquon Barkley. Well, Saquon Barkley's not under contract. Makes it slightly more difficult to trade a guy that's not under contract. And if you tag him, if he doesn't sign the tag, it doesn't matter if you trade him or not. Saquon Barkley's not going to be back. OGR Sports. OG, man, I forgot to call you. I've been busy the last couple of days. I'm so sorry. I'll try to text you later. It's been a crazy 2 days. If that's Joe speak, that is the organization, because we have the same mess under 3. Yeah, we do. We got Barbara back on his house. Hi, Rover. I've discovered the new channel. I love it with Tim. It's because he's awesome. I tell you, I love my new favorite clip. This is now my new favorite clip.
Out of here. Get your hands off me, Maria. Nobody calling me bougie. Maria, what is bougie?
It means you think you're better than other people.
What in the hell? Bougie ass charge.
Someone called me that, not bougie, but someone said, you just think you're better than everyone. I don't think I'm better than anybody. But I just thought it was funny because I said to him, I think I'm better than you. Manuel is in his house. Mr. Winplug says Joe Shane a buster. I don't know if he's a buster yet. I don't know. You got to give him another year. You got to give him a third draft. You really have to give him a third draft. You gave Gettleman. But the thing is, can you really sit there and say you're going to give him another chance to go out and find a quarterback next? Let's say he doesn't take a quarterback at all in this draft, which I think would be suicidal. But let's say he doesn't. And the Giants win 5-6 games again. Are you really going to allow him to pick your quarterback again? No, he's going to be gone. If you have another bad season, either Schoen and Dable or both are gone next year. Emmanuel, what do we got here? Thoughts on Garofalo is saying there is a 76% chance the Giants trade him. Well, there's a 89.6% chance that I'm just generally awesome. It is what it is. It is what it is. Nobody knows what anyone's going to do in the draft. They really don't. And no one's going to say anything. And like I said, it just aggravates. It's more of an aggravation for me about what he's talking about or how Joe was talking. I think that's more what the problem is. Mr. Ross, I think says you're dropping gems right now. I don't know. That was 14 minutes ago. So I don't know what gems I was dropping. I don't remember. Mr. Alvarez says, hey, Tim, listening to Joe here, all I can think about is, oh, God, we have Get a Fraud 2.0. Technically, yes, because all Schoen is doing is re-signing, or what he was doing is re-signing Gettleman's guys outside of Banks and outside of Bobby Okereke. Yeah, you put McFadden in there, but I'd like to see what McFadden does year 3. We talked about Tay Crowder today. Tay Crowder had 100 tackles. Look at that. He's got like 120 tackles. Yeah, too bad like 40 of them were solo and 80 were assists. And we've said, everyone knows, we've talked about this a million times. As a former defensive player, an assist is a bullshit stat. It's a pylon stat. You get an assist for jumping on the pile. So everyone talked about how, look at Tay Crowder, he rocked Derrick Henry. No, first of all, he hit Henry from the side. Second of all, Henry even came out and said I was running too high. But that was his defining moment of the Giants. But nobody wants to talk about the fact that at this point in time, I think he's on Pittsburgh's practice squad. I'm not saying that's McFadden. I'm not saying that's McFadden. No, I'm not saying it. But like I said, I need a body of work. I definitely think McFadden had points that he was stellar. He also got benched. So we need to just see. You know what the thing is? It's just this. It's just consistency. Sometimes you don't need to be consistently great. You just need to be consistent. It would be nice if you like a Lawrence Taylor and you're consistent. Great. That'd be awesome. But you need to be consistent. If Daniel Jones consistently played in 14 games, threw for 3,800, 4,000 yards, I would take 25 touchdowns, 11, 12 interceptions. I would say consistently he is a good quarterback. Well above average. But you look at his body of work and you have to sit there and go, he's well below average. Barbara says Jerry Reese would give out draft plans to other teams. Jerry Reese would talk a little bit tough. Jerry Reese would talk a little too much. Jerry, well, Gettleman came out and basically told you he was taking Barkley. Davey says, I wonder if you build a monster offensive line like the Redskins in the 80s and the Cowboys in the 90s, you could put Lasagna Boy at no. Tommy DeVito, great story. Great kid. Loves his mother. Walks his grandmother across the street. Fantastic. Not an NFL quarterback. Juan says Jerry Reese looked competent next to this GM. Well, you can't say that yet. We can't say that yet. Not yet. What's up, Tim? What's going on? Barbara says, I know he's saying it with a poker face. Poker face. I don't even think he's saying it with a poker face. I actually beginning to think he believes it. I really do. And I think that's more scary. But you also have to remember he's committed. The moment you gave him that contract, you committed to Daniel Jones. Hell or high water. I said it in the video when he signed the contract. If Daniel Jones flames out or gets injured, this is just going to be bad. And we're going to sit there and go in year 7 or 8. We don't know what we have. Mr. McCormick, what's going on, Tim? I'm beginning to think that we won't be targeting a quarterback in the draft. Hey, listen, I could be totally wrong. Fuck, I could be 100% off target. but it's going to be hard to come back from heaping so much praise on Daniel Jones and then taking a quarterback 6. It's gonna be hard to come back. What do we got here? Maybe he's trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. I think he believes it. You can sometimes tell. People always laugh at me. I got a great poker face. I really do. But they laugh because some people that know me for a long time go, I know when you're not being honest. Not being honest, but when you're making something up, where you're just being crazy. Because you get this little, and even my wife says, you either start laughing or you get a little smirk. And they're like, as soon as I see that smirk or see you start laughing, I know you're being full of shit. And I just don't see Shane being that much of a poker player. Barrow says, I feel Drake May or maybe JJ McCarthy. I've said it before, I would take either one of them over Daniel Jones. I've said this before. If you're gonna grab McCarthy second, using one of your seconds and maybe a third, I got no problem with that. Because you don't know what McCarthy is. McCarthy threw 659 passes in college. You don't know what he is. He's in a run-centric offense. You're going to get a better idea at the combine. You're going to get a better idea of the arm strength. You're going to see how much velocity he actually has. The one good thing about throwing at the combine and throwing at your pro day, you can actually gauge velocity. So you'll see if he has the arm to make all the throws on Sunday. You'll see that. Drake May has got a big time arm. Drake May is I think he's a more athletic Daniel Jones, but I would still take him over Daniel Jones. Said this before, and I've said it a lot. You had Eli Manning for 16 years. Well, at that time, 15 years. So you had vanilla. So you went out to get Rocky Road. Well, you thought so, but actually all you got was vanilla light. I just think, stop, collaborate, and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something. Grab a hold of me tightly. Sorry, just ice, baby. Jerry Reese, we were good from 2007 to 2011. The drafts in 2012 and 2017 were terrible. They were. But you got to give him credit for the 2007 and 2011 draft because both of those drafts helped you win the Super Bowls. And yes, I give full credit to the 2007 team to Ernie Accorsi, because they were his free agents. They were his, there was his pick and Eli Manning, but the drafts were Jerry Reese. So we got Big James salute in the chat. And make sure you hit the like. Duncan says, please take Tony back. No, you're stuck. You're stuck with him. No give backs. No. What is Authentic says, Sam right there with you, bro. That's Joe Shane's Q&A was pathetic. It was. It just. And I wanted to come away with the Q&A with a thought that, maybe there's hope. And maybe when he's talking about, well, we're not going to take, we're going to take, we're not going to do a quarterback. We're not going to do this. We got the, and I was hoping that you would see something. You would see something in the facade that was cracking. And like I said, it would be one of those things that you kind of looked at and you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe he's given a little, he's given a little glimmer of hope. He's a little, but again, like I said, I think he does protest too much, but in reverse, I think he does praise too much. Big salute out to James. J Fed says, what has J Fed said? I'll sprinkle in a little cash for Daniel Jones, comeback player of the years, and I am crazy. It's all good. Nobody's crazy. John says, yo. We also got Anthony in the chat as well. Going, sup, Tim? What's going on? We also got, what do we got here? We got my brother coming in saying, Tim, Joe Shane is potentially painting himself into a corner and he will have a hard time getting out. That's why they say, if you're doing, I've redone floors in my life, and I've paved driveways, and you never, and especially, when you're doing a floor, the worst thing to do is you always start from, you always start into a position where you don't paint yourself into a part in the floor where you can't get out of it, because you always start from the one end and work all the way back, and you work all the way back to the end where it gets you out and it goes back around again. Same thing when you're doing a driveway. Driveway, usually what I like to do on the driveway is I start from the bottom and I go back up, because what I do is I end up in the garage. But you could also start from the garage and go back down again. You have to find your pattern. And I think he's not finding his pattern right now. Ohio says, what's up, Tim? Danny checks down, still sucks. Davey said, who is better, Jeff Hostetler, Mark Rippon, or DJ? If I had to go with that list, I would go Rippon, Haas, DJ. Hostetler is known more for his Super Bowl run and what he did, how he performed with the Raiders than he is with the Giants. Rippon actually led a team to the Super Bowl. I mean, and he had some good years. Todd says we lost to Minnesota that year as well. Why doesn't he bring that up? Thank you. I was literally going to get to that. Because he didn't bring it up at all. He didn't even mention, because in this parallel universe, it didn't exist. That first Minnesota game didn't count because they lost. Great balls of fire. George Young was the best. George Young was awesome. But then George Young kind of lost the plot towards the end. Not mentally. He just he just did some things that didn't make any sense. Danny Dunn says, he did have the one game his rookie season where he threw I love that also, when he threw for 4 touchdowns, but that was 5 years ago. You talk to Daniel Jones enthusiasts. You say, what are the defining moments in Daniel Jones's career? Minnesota and the first Tampa game. There's a bunch of games in between, aren't there? I'm just asking. I'm just asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend. J-Fed says, put Purdy on the Giants. There wouldn't be any better. Let's be real. You don't know that. You don't know that. Who the hell thought Tommy DeVito would win 3 games? Who the hell thought that Tyrod Taylor almost go back-to-back 300-yard games after what you watched? You don't know that. Rick Meyer sucked. Jones is good. That proves Jones is good. Oh, poor Rick Meyer. Anyone that doesn't remember the Golden Domer, Rick Meyer went to Seattle. First round draft pick. For when he was picked it was in the 80s, earlier 90s. When he came out, the stats were different. So he actually had a very good statistical rookie season that first year in Seattle. And then we talked about it before. They got film on Rick, and they figured out Rick couldn't throw left. Rick couldn't go left. So what do? You stack everything to the right, you make him go left. And his career was never the same. Matthew, what's up, Matthew? The OBB family. Davey says, Tim, when you're eligible to collect Social Security, then you're old. Until then, you are young. I'm getting close. Point is, Purdy makes also $970K. I don't know if anyone read that wonderful article today on NewYorkGiantsLive.com that actually discussed the 3-year rookie, the 3-year window for a quarterback, for a rookie drafted quarterback in the first round. And salary is one of the big things. And right, Purdy's not taking up any cash. Everyone talks about the huge contract that Jalen Hurts got. Well, take a look outside the dead cap money, how much that contract really doesn't affect the Eagles at all. Harry Roseman's a mad genius. And I love the point, because we've talked about this. I love the point where Jalen came to Jalen's the representation came to Howie and said, listen, we want a no trade clause. We want a no trade clause. There's a no deal here. There's no deal here, man, till we get that no trade clause. Howie just leaned back and said, you got it. Knowing full well, if he traded him within the first 3 years, he's wrecking the cap. So there's no way in hell, even if he's wrong, he's trading him. So yeah, there you go, dude. You want a no trade clause? I'm going to give you 2 for the price of 1. Matthew says, drop it in to say, I got to work all night.
That's what she said.
You know, we had to go that way. Oh, Barbara saying, good morning, Matthew. How's it going? J-Fed says, not next to Brock Montana. Not next contract for Brock Montana. Emmanuel says, looks like neighbors. I like the neighbors. I like the neighbors. But the problem is with chipping my neighbor. Who's going to throw him the ball? You bring in the porn stash. Gardner Minshew. You bring him in. I got no problem with that. You bring in a guy. Hell, I don't have a problem you bringing Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston a quarterback who never met a pass he didn't like, went an entire season, his last season in Tampa, NFL record for never throwing a ball out of bounds. That's a good thing and a bad thing. Make sure you hit the like button. I forget that. Let's see. The Seattle Seahawks. Oh, God, Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn, a ton of money. He lost his job to Russell Wilson. Yeah, he lost his job, and he lost a lot of other things. He got thrown out. Barbara says Barkley should be gone now. Dimes will be gone after this season coming. I hope to God you're right. Fabian's in his house. What's up, Fabian? What did it say? What would Bill Parcells have liked in DJ if he was his quarterback? Bill Parcells would have liked the fact that I don't know. Well, first of all, Bill Parcells always liked a hard ass quarterback. Look at Phil Simms. Phil Simms, they used to yell at each other. Literally used to yell at each other. I don't think he would like much about Daniel Jones. I really don't. Antonio Anthony says, what is it? He says, Tim, I have a feeling we get a wide receiver at 6 and either trade back to the first for a quarterback to take on an early second round. I said this before. I've said this before. I would take Neighbors at 6. I did a whole video about this. I would take Neighbors at 6. I think Penix is going to drop. It's going to be the one. It's going to be that he's a lefty. It's going to be the injuries. There's going to be a whole lot of crap in there. But I think he's going to drop. And if he drops serendipitously, I think if you're the Giants, you take those. You have an additional second round asset. Combine it with another pick, you trade back up into the first round, grab Penix. And then I'm happy if you got Neighbor and Penix, but I don't think Schoen will do that. R0B is in his house. Rob, thank you for inviting me to the Twitter Spaces the other day. I was on the other one. I just didn't want to talk. But I did get a chance to I followed it for like 45 minutes. I just didn't feel like talking that day. And I couldn't make the other one the other day. It's like I said, it's just been crazy. But next one I see, I am going to try to jump on. Mr. Albert says, I can't wait to see what reaches we'll have every year at the draft. That's the other thing. We don't know how this draft is going to play out because you always have someone doing something stupid. There's no Oakland Raiders because they were known for doing something stupid. Maybe the Vegas Raiders will do something stupid, but you never know. This whole draft could get just thrown in to craziness. But if the Bears are going to truly go, it looks like it is. If they're truly going to go, Caleb Williams. You've already had one strike now. You got 2 other guys that could potentially be there. And at this point in time, it doesn't look like they're going to make it there. So you got to figure out a plan. And your plan better not be Daniel Jones. James, if Shane screws up this draft, he's definitely a buster. No quarterback this year. We might as well let Derps play out his contract. Imagine if we hit year 9 with Daniel Jones. And we're still hearing, well, we don't know what we have with him. We got Chris for the love of MMA. Tim, respect, and the Big Blue fam. Smash that like button. Thank you, sir. Daryl's in the house. Going, what's up, Tim? What's up, chat? The draft will be the determining factor on Joe Shane's bus ticket fund. We still have the $1.98 for the Isaac Yiadom ticket. We can convert that to get Joe out of town. I'll drive Joe. I'm not that far. I'll drive Joe. Pimp name Slickback. What's up? What's up, Tim? What's so good with you? The clock is ticking on Shane and Dable. Get your guy this year, or else you might be wrapped. Here's the thing. And here's the thing I keep hearing with people. Oh, we can get our guy next year. Who's coming out next year that you're enamored with? Remember when Spencer Rattler was the man? Remember when Spencer Rattler was the Heisman? Remember when Spencer Rattler was going to be that next great quarterback? What happened to Spencer? You don't know what this draft's going to be next year. It's not looking great for quarterbacks right now. You got a quarterback heavy draft this year. It may not be the best talent, but you have a quarterback heavy draft this year. So you really need to go out and find your guy. We talked about this. I'm going to talk about it briefly. Ernie Accorsi was a rookie general manager in Baltimore. I guess it was back in 83. It was a John Elway draft. He was a rookie general manager. And John Elway came out and said, I do not want to go to Baltimore. But Accorsi didn't want to trade the pick. Ownership basically traded the pick. And of course, Elway ends up in Denver. The rest is history. Of course, he still was talking about taking John Elway, even with John Elway not wanting to come to Baltimore. So Ernie Accorsi, when that pick got traded basically by ownership, Ernie Accorsi said to himself, if I am ever in a position again where I can get the quarterback, my franchise quarterback, I am going to move heaven and earth to do it. And that's what he did in 2004 with Eli Manning. He talked about it. He talked about it years later after he drafted Eli. I said, I was not going to make the same mistake I made in Baltimore by not getting my guy. James, is that a new picture? I like that picture. Fabian says there's a 676% chance it was all lies. I hope so. Mr. Ramos says, I can't wait to see what Reaches will do this year. James says, hit the like button. What do we got? MK saying, after hearing everything from Joe the past 2 days, likely do you think we go quarterback or trade up? I think there's a 68% chance we go down. Barber says next year's crop of quarterbacks in the draft won't be as good. I agree. I don't think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be there. Hey, James, you want to jump on? You want to jump on, James? I was talking to you about coming on there. I'm going to put that in the chat for you, big brand. Put that in the chat for my brother, man. Todd says it may be worse than Getty because the best guy on the team right now are Getty guys. That's a great point. It's truly a great point. Matt says maybe the play is draft McCarthy. McCarthy is raw and sit for a year. Probably needs it anyways. We're stuck with Jones next year. Like I said, if you took McCarthy, I'm not gonna sit there and complain. I'm not gonna sit there and whine about it because of the fact that McCarthy is the unknown. I want to see him throw. I want to see his pro day. I want to get a better. I don't worry about the Wonderlick. I want to get a better idea of what he can do. I want to see what type of velocity he has. I want to see what kind of arm strength he has. Even in the choreographed show of what I like to refer to as the pro day ballet, I still want to see what he can do. Because you don't know. There's a huge unknown there. And sometimes, like I said, that unknown could be something awesome. Barbara says, Zach, I think we were getting quarterback fingers crossed. Hope we are. Sublight says, I think the constant pressure on having to win while you are rebuilding has alienated. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I keep getting bills for my season tickets and I keep ignoring them. So I don't know. I gotta figure out. Rob says he is consistently bad. What are your thoughts on Fireside Giants? Zach, I don't know which one Fireside Giants are. Could you tell me who they are again? Because I don't remember. Is that the tennis player? I don't know. I don't have a thought. Well, maybe I do. I just don't know who they are. Daryl says, I'm hoping that Joe Schoen, admitting that he was wrong and moved out of his game. Plan is to sign that he can't admit that Daniel Jones' contract was a mistake. He's not going to admit it was a mistake. It would be funny if you actually had an honest general manager. It would be fun. It would literally be funny. You know that movie Liar Liar with Jim Carrey? If you couldn't lie for a day, and I'm not talking about what your game plan is. I'm just talking about to the fans. Because, I love when people are like, well, what do you care? It's not your money. I buy jerseys. I buy season tickets. I go to the stadium. I spend my money. I buy additional tickets for subscribers and other people. So, yeah, it's my money. Giants 34. What's going on, brother? Tim, the funny part about this is, Tim, is that the play that ended Daniel Jones' season was a play where he was stepping back and fans said it was the Lions' fault. Well, I am going to bring this up. I didn't want to bring this up, but sometimes lines, if they're not perfectly in the grass, cause a seam. And of course, I'm bullshitting. Todd says, can't pull the wool over the league eyes. No, we can't. Let's see. Tyrod is old and DeVito isn't good. We have no quarterback on the roster. Davey says, 4th rounder for Malik Willis. I would do that. I would do 4th rounder Malik Willis. Why not? I love that. That's everyone else's thing. I love the one people's like, well, you said Malik Willis was going to be good. Look at that. So Malik gets 4 games. Daniel Jones gets 6 years. Malik went to a situation which was not a good situation where the head coach didn't want him. And I said he had to sit for at least a year. What the fuck is wrong with people? And I always tell people that's the best you got. Yeah, really. You don't talk about the fact that all the other quarterbacks I got right, but you want to talk about that one, and I'm not even wrong yet. Give him an opportunity, see what he does. You've given Daniel Jones all the opportunities in the world, and he's flamed out. But that's okay. Barbara says, Tim, I love the mic sound effects. Thank you. I got a new mic. Fancy one. Look at that. That's fancy. And it's got this really big fancy stand, but I'm too lazy to set it up. Effort and time, and I'm just not into that. Oh, let's see. I got a guest standing here in a minute. I'm going to go to him right there. He's smiling, but I have to get his theme music. I have to get my guest theme music, and I'm way behind on the chat, guys. And I swear I'm gonna get to everyone like I always do. I will go down swinging before I don't. I gotta find my sound effects. Where's my other sound effect bar? I gotta get this sound effect. I have a guest coming on, and like always, we always have sound effects for the guests. Let's see here. Oh, that's good. Evil superhero. Here we go. All right, everyone just talk amongst yourself. I'm busy. All right, here we go. We ready? Here we go. We have 2 guests coming on. One is a man that no man can ever defend. A man that they can never defeat. It's the one. It's the only. Our favorite of the show, Lex Luthor. Fighting state of New Jersey. It is a man. It is the myth. It is the legend. I don't know where he's at. I don't know if he's got a shirt on. But it's the T-Brad. Oh, there he's got a shirt on. All right, I can't check this shit up.
Yeah, definitely a shirt on.
All right, I couldn't tell because there's a wire here, and it was my utter laziness to put the wires in. Oh, wait a minute! And we have one more person wanting to drop in. My brother from another mother. James, you always fuck shit up. Now he's gone. What's going on, guys?
What's going on, Tim?
We got the OGR Sports. We got the T-Brad. I had James on, but evidently James is just gone with the wind.
He'll be back.
He will be back. Everyone saw. Hold on, I got to get a couple of these in real quick. T-Brad, what is it? R0 Big says, Fabian, there are teams behind us that could move up. We don't give out your plans. Let people find out when it is reported. Yeah, but you also don't sit there and talk about how much you love Daniel Jones and then turn around and go, I was just kidding about all of that. You fucking fools. No, that's not what happens. Here he is. He made it.
Oh, excuse me. So sorry.
I told you I don't like Panama Red. What the hell are you doing here?
So sorry. Excuse me, chat. Fellas, good evening.
That was awesome. Perfect cloud.
The perfect cloud of smoke. I'm going to start at the top of the OGR. What did you think about Joe Schoen and his press day at the
There you go. That's what I think about it. It's got me all choked up. No, it was embarrassing. I mean, what can I say? I mean, that was debacle. I mean, you're a GM for what, 2 years? You can't handle the media. You can't hold your water. I mean, and not to mention all the other rumors on top of it. How he's, people are saying that he's going to GMs and he's not even hiding it. It's bad. There's no words I can say to describe it. I mean, maybe James will be better at it than I will.
I like the fact that you just summed it up, and I got another person dropping in, but I don't want to have too many people on at once. So hang in there, and the person in the next room, I don't want to say who it is because I'm gonna have to have a sound effect for you, James. what did you think of everything that Shane said or what Shane didn't say?
I'm just gonna my favorite quote. He's throwing from a seated position. I just Shane is he put me to sleep. I don't know. Like he's like like I said in the chat, if he screws this draft up, he's definitely on buster status because nothing he said in that press conference gave me hope. I actually had a lot of hope before the press conference from things I was reading, and then hearing what he said and watching just his body language and everything just kind of made me realize like, oh, we might actually ride with Daniel for real next year.
Well, first of all, James, when you're throwing like this,
look at that.
When you throw it like this, move that right in the middle. When you throw like this in the seated position, it's much more difficult.
Yo, that's yo.
Dude, it was hard to sneak into Daniel Jones' house to take this picture.
That's wild. That's wild.
It was beyond difficult. T. Brad, same question. What was running through your mind when you heard some of these quotes? And he didn't just say it once, because there's multitudes of interviews where he's basically saying and spewing the same information to so many different people.
I didn't watch it. Didn't watch any of it. Don't know what happened.
All right. Well, you know what? Then he's gonna have to sit in timeout.
You walk at him for that.
We are a professional show. You know this. You know how professional we are here. You have to watch these things.
I'm going to be honest. I identify as a Giants fan. Like, I'm a Giants fan through and through, but it has been rough. It has been rough. Watching teams who pick before you get better than you, faster than you. I'm just in a state of, all right, let's watch this train wreck. You know what I mean? Like you know how I forget what that movie was, like where Morgan Freeman was the damn president and it was a natural disaster that was going to happen. And the guy was there with his daughter and the wave was coming in. He just knew it was over. That's how I look at this process. No matter how we do, no matter what research we do, no matter how many fucking the four cone drill, whatever, we're gonna find a way to mess it up. Like this last season just showed that. What do? We got Daniel Jones, we got Saquon Barkley. Hey, let's pay the more inconsistent one because the line really let him down, but it didn't let down the other guy. Nope. Let's pay the inconsistent one. He's quarterback,
but he's consistently inconsistent.
Right, and then we come in this year and we don't trade Saquon Barkley and get nothing for him as he'll be walking this year. We could at least add a third.
That would be nice. We have someone else that's going to come in here, and he is going to give us information and knowledge that we are going to get away from these guys.
It's not my DoorDash driver.
These Nancy boys. Here he is, the one, the only, Mr. McCormick.
What's going on? What's going on, fellas?
Yo.
Come on and
tell brother.
First of all, Irish Rover's got to say, I got to go, Irish Rover. I see you, my brother. Irish Rover's got to go. Good night, Tim, James, in the chat piece. Mr. McCormick, these guys are just so negative. They talk about me being negative. These guys are just so negative. Tell me something.
I've seen this movie before.
See this movie before.
Yeah, we've all seen this movie before. We've seen it for the past, 10, 11, 12 years where, if we would have just moved off of Eli 1 or 2 seasons earlier, we wouldn't be going through this right now.
Yep.
Everyone has to be moved off of at some point. Even Joe Montana, Tom Brady got traded. I mean, everyone. You can't just have one guy rule a franchise for this long and then dictate what's going on, with the future of the franchise. We have to have a plan. Daniel Jones was just the guy who was there. He had one good start in Tampa, and that sold everyone going, into the future. So,
well, it didn't sell everyone.
Well, the majority of the fan base.
There was one idiot. I will raise my hand. There was one idiot that's been saying this since day one. So, but no, yeah, I mean, it's we've reached the point, we've reached a crescendo. Matthew's got to get out of here too. He's got to say, I'll catch the rewind later. Have a great night. Hey, James, what's your favorite?
NewYorkGiantsLive.com.
There you go. There you go. I just throw a shameless plug in there. James has got it right. James, since you got it right, what, after hearing everything that Shane said or hearing things that Shane didn't say, what do you think the thought process is right now for the New York Giants in this draft in 2024?
I fully believe they're still, for some reason, on the fence about taking a quarterback. I do think he's going to do his evaluations, whatever the heck that means, due diligence, whatever. And honestly, I'm just going to keep hope that, everything I've been reading about, we're going to trade up and, somebody else, maybe like New England is not going to take a quarterback because, they're really, not ready. But I'm just going to hold on to that hope because honestly, like I said before, nothing that I heard or saw in the press conference that I saw just gave me any kind of positivity going forward, to be honest.
As Zach always says, it's hopium. Too big for skinny jeans says, oh my God, finally, yes, we held on to Eli too long, and look now, we are terrible. I thought Eli's last game was, I think it was the 2014 season, which was the New Year's Eve game against Washington, where New Orleans Darkwa ran for like 140 yards. And the Giants won that game. And I remember being on the sideline for that game, and I'm thinking that was Eli's last game. And then Eli came back for like 3 more years. OGR, what do you think? What do you think the Giants are doing right now? What do you think their mindset is after hearing everything that Shane said?
Honestly, I mean, there's so many rumors out there. A lot of people are saying that the ownership wants them to improve the offensive line, and then they'll allow Shane to take his guy. I don't know if you want to believe that. I personally think that he's going to get, unless he moves up and trades with one of the teams that are in front of him, I think quarterbacks are going 1, 2, 3. Every time I look at this draft and whatnot, and I know you've had the rumor earlier this week that the Patriots are high on Justin Fields. I just think quarterbacks are going to go 1, 2, 3, and the Giants are just going to be sitting there holding the bag at 6. And either they trade back or they don't. I mean, you keep saying it, be bold, and, people will come to your aid, or however you put
bold
that.
And mighty forces will come to your aid.
And I think he has to be bold. I've always felt that if Joe Schoen wants his guy and the Bears are willing to trade, you have to go to 1 and you have to pay the price. That's the only move I see the Giants doing. I don't think a quarterback's falling to 6, but I could be wrong.
Mr. McCormick, was it worth winning those 3 games with Danny DeVito?
It's never worth it. I said that, during the season and in some of these groups that I'm in, and they said I was a hater and I wasn't a real Giants fan. When I said you can win these useless games that are not going to mean anything. It's like, do you think we're going to win a Super Bowl with this guy? And if the answer is no, then what are we doing? It's just we're going around in circles. We're messing up our draft. We're messing up our draft position. And, at the time, you go for your team. You root for your team. You don't root against them. But at some point, it's just like the bottom has to fall out. You have to destroy and rebuild. That's how everything goes. You have to bottom all the way out, fix everything up from the bottom up, and then you can compete. You can't do both. That's why I'm thinking that that leadership, ownership is thinking like, oh, we can compete and we can rebuild at the same time. And that's the same thing Gettleman was saying. So that's coming from ownership. They want to do this. They want to do both. You can't do both. It's impossible. No one in the history of any sport has been able to rebuild and compete at the same time. So you have to do what you have to do. Take this team apart. Don't give anybody big contracts. Let McKinney go. Trade him. Do whatever you have to do. Let Barkley go. Trade him. Do what you have to do. No more big contracts. Let these guys go. Start making some trades. get some new blood in here, we need to build around a quarterback. Can't build around a running back. Can't do it. This is 2024. This is 1986.
Well, to quote OGR's favorite thespian, a hater's going to hate, and a player's just going to play. You just have to shake it off. So we need to remember that. T-Brad, two questions, twofold. What are we waiting on from DoorDash?
Nothing. I don't have anything from DoorDash. My daughter cooked hibachi today. Steak, shrimp, chicken. She did the whole shebang bang.
Oh, okay. All right. I like that. Mr. McCormick was so eloquently putting that, this isn't 86. This isn't 90. You're not going to win with a run centric offense. You're going to have over James. I know I always get confused. There. You're not going to win with a run-centric offense. You're going to have to get a 21st century. You're going to have to go maybe get someone like, I don't know, Drake May to be your quarterback. If the Giants, I mean, seriously, do the Giants, if they don't, and it doesn't look like I said, it doesn't look like they're going that direction in the first round. What about later in the draft? What about a guy that, could surprise some people that the Giants are looking at that it may not even be on the radar of other people?
In the first round?
No, after the first round.
And we don't take a quarterback.
We don't take a quarterback.
I'm taking a sabbatical from the NFL. No, it all depends on who's there. I mean, they got to get a quarterback with that second pick, with the second round pick. I think the pick has to be Michael Penix Jr. JJ McCarthy's he's gonna start elevating up the draft board. He's got the intangibles. He's got the look. He's that kind of player, and he didn't play bad at Michigan. I think people are going to be intrigued by, if he has a good combine, I think people are going to be intrigued by everything he has, playing at a high level, and I see him being able to move up. That's all I'll say. But it'll be Michael Penix Jr.
People keep pointing out that McCarthy's stats are eerily similar to Tom Brady's coming out of Michigan. Which, when Tom Brady came out of Michigan, they looked at those stats and said, "That's not good." And that was back in the early 90s.
You know what? I eerily look like Idris Elba when you squint and drunk and look through a piece of paper. I look just like Idris Elba. I don't see it, but do I see him being able to come in and be better than people thought he was? Yes, kind of like a Drew Brees. Because Drew Brees was like a second round quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. He wasn't taken early on out of Purdue. So can McCarthy come in and have a real good career? Yeah. Yep. But I think we're going to take Penix Jr. I'm hoping. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. They'll find a way.
I didn't know I could move things around. I'm gonna be in the middle now. This is like Hollywood Squares. I'm center square.
Here's a story
of a lovely lady who keeps moving all the boxes. We got OGR Sports in the corner, and now he's not on the screen. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Sorry, James.
Yeah.
What to T Brad's point? What would you say if we grab Penix?
Yo, man.
Second round, maybe later, second round.
Like brother said, we have to take a quarterback, either second, definitely third round. We have to. If we don't take Neighbors or the kid from Washington, forgot his name, but one of those dudes, we have. Thank you. Well, we have to get somebody to throw him the ball. Drafting a wide receiver with no quarterback is not going to show us anything. To be honest, we still don't really know how good Jalen Hyatt is. Because how many balls did he really get thrown his way? Until Tyrod came in. But I'm thinking. I thought he was going to say Young Logan. I'm gonna call McCarthy Young Logan and Penix Cyborg. So we got to get one of those dudes. We need a hero. We need a hero to come in here. Either young Logan, young Wolverine, or Cyborg Penix, $1 Million Man rebuilt. We need one of those two heroes. Just somebody, please. Save us.
Tim, do you have I need a hero soundbite? I need a hero.
we need that. We do. We need a hero, man. Young Logan, a cyborg.
He's
please.
Got to be brave. He's got to fight. But do we need a hero from the movie Short Circuit, or do we need? I forgot the other movie that song was also on. OGR. Talk some sense into these guys.
Talk some sense into I agree with every one of them.
Thank you, Lex Luthor. Thank you, Lex.
You left the screen. That's why you're not there anymore.
And just like that, you get Wonka.
You get Wonka.
You lose.
You knew it. You knew it had to be coming. Who was your quarterback, OGR?
Who's my quarterback?
Not the first rounder. Who's a quarterback? Who's your quarterback?
I'm with these guys, Michael Penix Jr.
Mr. McCormick, who's your quarterback not in the first round?
Are we sure that Michael Penix is not going to go in the first round? I believe that there's a team out there who's going to take him in the first round. I really do believe that if he's around for the Raiders, they're going to pick him. You know, that's it. Once he gets to them, they're going to pick him. Out of the first round, it's going to have to be J.J. McCarthy because I'm believing most of the quarterbacks we're talking about are going to be picked in the first round. Now, if you talk about the second round or better, then it's the two Michigan quarterbacks because, you know, Joe Milton was a Michigan quarterback before he went to Tennessee. And so he's the other guy, and I don't want him. So yeah, it's JJ. If it's out of the first round, it's going to be JJ. And God, help us all if we don't pick a quarterback in any other rounds. If we pick Milton, that'll be terrible.
So, Mr. McCormick, I got a question for you then. How many quarterbacks do you think are going to go in the first round?
I'll say 4 or 5. I'm thinking Washington's going to get a quarterback. The Bears are going to get a quarterback. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Justin Fields. Not sure. New England, I'm believing is going to get a quarterback, but that could change. Then I think the Raiders are looking at a quarterback. You have guys who can trade up. They're already talking about teams possibly trading up to get a quarterback.
Atlanta is a candidate, obviously.
Yeah, Atlanta is definitely it. I forgot all about Spencer Rattler. He has a terrible attitude, but you never know what happens when you go to the NFL. I mean, let's give a guy with a bad attitude $1 million. Never goes bad, you know.
So I have a question for everybody. Assuming everybody thinks that the top 5 quarterbacks are Caleb, Jaden, Drake, McCarthy, and Penix, and those are the 5 quarterbacks that are going to go in the first round, and you're sitting there in the second round, is there any other quarterback that you guys like that you would be willing to draft in the second round and be okay with?
No.
Are you be okay with a Milton or a Rattler?
Hold on. In that scenario, did J.J. McCarthy go?
I'm saying those 5 quarterbacks went in the first round.
So J.J.'s gone, Penix is gone, and the top 3 are gone.
Correct.
Wow.
And that's a possibility.
Wow.
We have to trade for a guy. We have a trade for probably I would think that we have a trade for Fields at that point, you know. Like
Fields is probably going to be gone way before then.
Yeah, Fields is definitely.
I agree. Fields is going to be gone probably the next 2 weeks.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that statement. Because as the draft gets closer, Caleb's stock's going to go down. So they have to trade him. If they're really going to go Caleb at 1, they have to trade. They have no choice but to trade him within the next 2 weeks or before free agency is over, pretty much.
Can I answer that question like this? And I'll say this in the second round. I wouldn't like Bo Nix with our second round pick, but I don't think he'll be around for our second round pick. So I'd kind of be okay, victim of circumstances, taking Bo Nix there, but I wouldn't be excited
We'd
and not
almost
excited as I was to get Rattler at 3. Like if Rattler was there in the 3rd round, I could do that.
we'd have to take that, honestly. That would be like just, table scraps taking what if for some reason those 5 dudes are gone and we miss that boat, Bo Nix, listen, like we got to get out of this Daniel Jones cloud.
We have to get out of the Daniel Jones funk. And guys, listen,
nobody would be excited.
I'm gonna have to let you guys drop off for a little bit because I got to get out of here soon.
All right,
I got to go to the store, but I want to pontificate for a couple more minutes before I drop out. But I want to thank Mr. McCormick. I want to thank T. Brad as always, Big James Williams, and OGR for coming in, dropping by, and dropping out. I want to make sure I get to some of these chat questions that I missed before I head out for the evening. So I just want to thank you guys for coming in. Don't forget to stop by you 3 or 4 on Sunday.
Thanks, Tim.
All right,
Tim.
guys.
Thanks, brother.
Take care.
I need to put my phone.
Peace. It's always fun to have everybody on. It's always good. It's always interesting. It's always a good time. But they were talking about quarterbacks. And then we were talking about quarterbacks not in the 2nd round, not in the 1st round. And Barbara's got a question. It says, I guess Fields will be signed back. Tampa's going to kick Fields. So, I mean, Mayfield, I'm sorry. So that's not going to happen. So, and we got Mr. Mills saying, I honestly like Rattler in that scenario as well. And I love it. We got my brother telling me, no to Bo, no to Milton. I agree. Fabian also comes out and said, odds are stacked against every top 10 quarterback at 1%. It's insane. And Zach Attack, I know you got a test, so you better be studying. My thing is this. You have no guarantee. We have no guarantee if we take a quarterback at 6 that he's not going to be a failure by year 5. No guarantee. You are basically getting, I love it because if you take a look at it, you're basically getting the 19 draft over again. Oh my God. I love it because my wife sent me a text message. I got to read it though. She doesn't like when I read her text message, but this was actually funny because I have to do the whole thing. She goes, how long are you going until?
That's what she said.
I gotta go to the store because I ran out of stuff for my kids' lunch. So, being a bad parent. But now I lost my train of thought. Oh, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee we grab somebody at 6 and they're not going to be a colossal failure. It's not like they're going to have 2 good games of their entire career and have people just sit there and say that's the games. You are going to have a better case scenario at times grabbing a quarterback later in the draft or later even in the 2nd round than potentially your odds wise by taking that one guy at 6. And we've talked about this before. We've talked about this ad nauseum. It was great to win the Tommy DeVito games. It was great. You had Tommy DeVito mania, and then it all collapsed in prime time. Like everyone kind of knew it was going to. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, and I've said this before, and I said this to the gentleman, was it worth the 3 wins? Because everyone told me when I kept bitching about we're winning these useless games, we're winning these stupid games, that everyone's like, well, if we fall at 6, it won't be a big deal. I kept trying to tell people, yeah, it's going to be a big deal. Because if you finally are going to go out and try to get your guy, you may not get him at 6. And that's what happened. So it's kind of like when Joe Schoen thought he was painted in a corner and he had to re-sign Daniel Jones because he had no other quarterback. Well, Baker Mayfield was there. A couple other guys were there. You had the porn stash there. But we're okay. We felt we had to re-sign it. And re-signing that contract is prohibiting you from doing things that you need to do to make yourself better now. And at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to think about this. Is it worth it? Is it really worth it anymore? What do we got here, Mr. Squares? The Giants have been winning the Super Bowl each decade. I've seen them all. I don't see them winning one. I've seen them all as well. I've seen them all as well. I've been to a couple of them. but I've seen them all as well. I don't see it either. Too Big Skinny says, we need a quarterback. Definitely played in the cold, my opinion. Yeah, sometimes getting a cold weather guys is good, and I think Michigan's pretty cold. Sir Foul Play of Brooklyn, what's going on? Said Don Tim. Everything's going. Razzle the Great. Did you hit that like button, though? I probably forgot. Don't forget to hit the like button. Bo Nix. Second round makes some sense. He is definitely a project. Here's my problem with Bo Nix. I've said this before. He's a one-read quarterback. When he was at Auburn, they tried to have more of an open style offense for him, and he completed 50-something% of his passes. He goes to Oregon. They basically go with a one-read design, especially that last year, and he throws for 4,000 yards, 30-plus touchdowns. He's a one-read guy. And we already have a one-read guy. Fabian says, go quarterback. Yes, later on, but give up draft capital to do so is crazy. Barbara says, I was up for tanking, but I definitely wanted to beat the Eagles when draft positions were already set. Guilty also comes in. So we need a quarterback. But look at what happens the last time we took a quarterback at 6. That's what I'm saying. This is a do-over. You get the 19 draft to do over again. I got to go to 86 and 2000. So I got a win and a loss. I actually got to go to 86 with my father, which was good, which was very special because we were going to Australia for a month. So we actually stopped over, and he surprised me with tickets to the Super Bowl. And then 2000, I was in Florida, and it was in Tampa. So just kind of had to go there. Emmanuel says, how many regimes has DJ destroyed? 3 so far. 3 so far. Guilty says we got that one. All right, guys, listen, it's not late, but I do have to go to the store. I kind of just wanted to jump on and say, hey, we probably won't do a live. We'll do a live stream on Sunday. And again, I'll go through everybody's comments because I want to get everyone's point of views. I want to get everyone's idea. We'll do more of a draft thing on Sunday. And I'll make sure that I'll make sure that I get an opportunity to again read everyone's chats and get everyone in as much as possible. I think Sunday is going to be guest free, and I think we'll just burn through the comment section and kind of go from there. But as always, I want to thank everyone for dropping in, dropping by, dropping out. This is Tim. This is your Giant Straight Talk Higher Line Big Blue LLC. We're going to say goodnight to Barbara, to Fabian, to Guilty, to Emmanuel. We got to thank to T-Brad, the James, and the OGR, and Mr. McCormick for dropping in, and Razzle the Great. We'll see you next time. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Peace.